first of 2 heats for the women as they are getting the equipment set to make sure that they can reach those rings with no problem. Ariel Lowen will be in lane number 7. She will certainly be an athlete to watch here. With that gymnastics background, she could score some serious points in 10th inning.
Yeah, we've got a great lineup here. This is even going to be a impressive first heat of the day, but I'm specifically watching Ariel Lowen. She's got a really great history when it comes to seeing ring muscle-ups in a particular event. We know that with 40 of them prescribed within this event, it's going to be a bit of a hang-up for many of these women, perhaps in a place where Ariel may be able to accelerate past and or close the gap on other women if they're able to create separation from her on these other 2 movements.
Ariel Lowen right now in 13th place overall with 135 total points, but she's only 10 points back of Bethany Flores for a spot inside the top 10. And we are underway, round number 1 here. 24 reps in each round, 19-minute time cap.
Folks, of course, with these ring muscle-ups, the athletes have to go from a position of fully extended arms below. They can use any form of kipping to get over the top of the rings, and then they've got to extend those arms all the way at the top.
Just about everybody done with her 4 ring muscle-ups at the same time. Shelby Neal was the last woman to get to the handstand push-ups. Now, as you mentioned, a familiar standard. Your hands just have to be on that line. You can kip, do them however you want. Now to the power snatches. 12 reps here at 65 pounds.
That's right, and what I'll be watching for is right out of the gate, Sean, who's going to break these up and how are they going to break them up? Are they going to attempt to go 12 touch and go for all 10 rounds? Are they going to try to allow themselves to have a moment of reprieve by dropping the bar at, let's say, 8 and then finishing with 4? Will it be 6 and 6? We see some starting to drop. Frey over there taking a brief break. Looks like Danielle Brandon will be the first to complete her 12. Oh, no, she's followed Ariel.
Ariel Lowen, Danielle Brandon, and then down in lane 2, Elena Caratala is on to her now 2nd round. So looking to get down to the 48 rep mark to end round number 2.
As we're watching here, you'll notice that the straps on the rings are pretty long. This is something that's very different from what a lot of us will experience at a traditional CrossFit affiliate due to, of course, the distance between most roofs and or the rig that the rings are supported from, and it certainly changes the way athletes have to move. We talked about this handstand push-up standard as well. It's really close to the wall. It makes it so that the athletes have to be purely inverted, and accuracy is really something that's demanded from them here. So we're going to get a good insight to if athletes have been practicing with this particular standard or not.
Ariel Lowen was first back to the barbell for round 2. Manon Enganez, you're looking at now, was right behind her. Danielle Brandon is there as well. Paige Powers. Elena Caratalia, Shelby Neal just getting to the barbell along with Kyra Milligan. And Danny Spiegel is back on the wall. She's fallen towards the back of the pack as she now moves to the barbell. They will complete the first 5 rounds of this event on that first platform that they're on now. And round 6, they will move forward to the 2nd platform as Ariel Lowen continues to lead. She's through 48 of the 240 scored repetitions and on to round 3.
You see Danny Spiegel there using more of a muscle snatch where she extends the hips, rapidly turns her arms under the bar, but she doesn't rebend the legs. She's just extending her legs rapidly, extending her hips and allowing herself to reach lockout. And what this can do is allow the athlete to experience less of a ballistic stimulus. It's less jumping, less up and down, so it tends to spike the heart rate a touch less, but it can certainly build up fatigue in the posterior.
As we start round 3 here, what are the keys to this event?
Yeah, the keys are really simple here. You know, you have to be mindful of finding, you know, your particular threshold with these movements. And by that, I mean slow the burn. All 3 of these movements create a unique stimulus around the shoulder joint. And if you move too fast too soon, especially too early in this event, you're going to have too much fatigue and it's going to slow you down later. Also, the hidden movement here is the transition time, Sean. There's 3 movements, but it's 10 rounds. There's 30 opportunities for you to either lose time or gain time against the field. You've got to be wise with how you choose to attack that.
Ariel Lowen and Manon Enganez, your top 2 athletes, and now Paige Powers and Danielle Brandon getting to the barbell. Emily Rolfe in lane 9 and Karen Freyova in lane 10 have all started their 3rd round of 12 power snatches at 65 pounds.
And Sean, this barbell, just these power snatches, it's a tricky aspect of this event because all of these athletes could go 12 unbroken, probably for all 10 rounds, but should they? The answer is no, and that's why we don't see anyone doing it right now. You want to create a rhythm there, even if it is 3 sets of 4 where you generously drop the bar way before you feel that burn. It's going to allow you to attack the transition back to the rings a little bit better if you feel like you finished all 12 of those very smooth.
Round 4 begins for Aerial Lowen. Paige Powers and Manon Anganez are back to the ring muscle ups as well. Manon Anganez are on the left side of your screen. Paige Powers is in lane number 8, right next to. Now on the right side of your screen, you can see her middle of your screen in the blue top. She sits in 3rd place. Emily Rolfe in lane 9. She's also on to the 4th round of ring muscle ups. Manon Anganez going through her 8 handstand push-ups here in round 4, past the 5-minute mark. 19-minute time cap. There's Shelby Neal. Aerial Lowen back to the barbell again.
Yeah, and one thing that I was going to mention is we can't forget all the grip-intensive work that was asked of these athletes yesterday. The killer cage, of course, which left a mark for many of them, building fatigue in the hands, the forearms, the lats, the shoulders. But then, of course, the log muscle-ups that they started the day with. So a lot of this accumulative fatigue is going to be building as we see events unfold throughout the course of this weekend. It's really going to show the volume, tolerance, and the durability of a lot of these athletes.
Now, Emily Rolfe has moved herself into 3rd place. Manon Anganez starting to challenge Aerial Lowen for the top spot in this heat. Final rep for Lowen. She is done, and she will move into round number 5. Through now 96 of the 240 total repetitions. Manon Anganez is done as well, and Anganez is going to beat Lowen back to the rings, but we will see who gets started first. It's going to be Aerial Lowen on the rings first. Here comes Anganez.
This will be a great test to really see how Anganez has been able to work on her overall stamina and endurance. It's definitely something that's noted as she's focused on that. And this being 10 rounds, yes, very traditional CrossFit movements, but presented in the volume that it is as we watch her work through her smooth handstand push-up. She does a great job kipping there. Great accuracy through her hips and legs, which is often overlooked. Yes, it's an upper body taxing movement, but the hips and the legs have to be very accurate to get you to that wall. She's executing smoothly.
Manon Anganez and Aerial Lowen fighting for the top spot in this first of 2 heats, and it's Anganez now in the lead, back to the barbell here in round 5. She will be done at the 120 rep mark. After this round, they will then do their power snatches on the platform in front of them. So just about at the halfway point for Anganez and Aerial Lowen. Emily Rolfe currently sits in 3rd place. Rolfe working her way back to the barbell. Anganez breaking. She and Lowen both through 117 reps. And Anganez back to work just ahead of Lowen. Manon Anganez coming in 14th place overall, but she's been going the wrong way in the overall standings. She started with a 9th in Texas Heavy, but since then a 12th and then a 17th in the circus last night, so looking to right the ship here. And both she and Lowen are done with round 5.
Yeah, she's going to, and we've watched Manon take a few of these transitions. That was probably the longest transition that she's taken prior to hopping up to the ring muscle-ups. But athletes are basically gauging that transition, that longest transition from the snatch bar back to the ring muscle-ups, just so that they always know, hey, I'm going to get all 4 of these ring muscle-ups. Don't want to cost myself, have to break them up. Those straps are long. Sometimes they can get out of control. And Aerial and Manon are going rep for rep here as they both have similar approaches to the way they've at least attacked it so far through these 5 to 6 rounds.
Danielle Brandon and Shelby Neal are in the top 5 as well. Emily Rolfe is battling with those 2 women for 3rd place in this heat, but the leaders are still Manon Anganez and Aerial Lowen.
And Manon was hands on the bar there at about 8:49. Aerial now moving at 8:58. So we're looking at about a 9-second separation. but how quickly is she willing to pick up the bar in between these sets, and how much does she even feel as though it's necessary, as we see her get a no rep, to keep the lead on aerial right now? You know, it's interesting, Sean, when we think about a psychology of an athlete, they know how much work they have to do, and they also know where they're at. They're 6 rounds into this thing. Are they at a breaking point, or are they at a place where they're in complete control and they can actually run a race?
240 total score repetitions at the 144 rep mark, which they have both hit. They will be done with round number 6, and now it's into round number 7. So Anganese and Lowen separating themselves from the pack. Here comes Danielle Brandon as she looks to close out round 6. Emily Rolfe is in lane 9. She is on her power snatches, but has yet to start her final couple of reps. She was taking a sizable break as Danielle Brandon breaks. Danielle Brandon, 11th place overall, 145 points.
We just saw Ariel Lowen break her handstand push-ups for the first time. Sean, step away from the wall, break those into 2 sets. Manon still keeping hers unbroken. Ariel had a slight lead going into those by about 6 to 8 seconds, and of course that was diminished. She right now is cycling the barbell, though, to get to 12 each round, just a touch faster than Manon on the last 2 rounds. So we'll see how time plays out as they finish up this round of 7.
Lowen gets to work ahead of Manon Anganese. 168 reps. That'll be the end of round number 7 here.
Ariel has a really unique cycling technique as well going on. I'm not even sure that the bar brushes her body on the way up. It stays very close, and on the first one she tends to, but then she almost doesn't extend the hip quite all the way to get the bar overhead, and then snakes underneath it. She rebends her legs just to lock out her arms and extend her hips to show the rep is complete at the top.
Ariel Lowen hearing it from the crowd as she has moved back in front now. Manon Anganese still has 2 reps remaining before she will be done with her 7th of 10 rounds. Again, 240 total scored repetitions here. And Ariel Lowen looking to open up a little bit of a lead here on Manon Anganese, who has been right with her this entire event. In fact, Anganese has had the lead during portions of this event.
Yeah, as we watch Ariel kind of shimmy her way through the ring, she tends to favor that left side a little bit first and then come through to the other side. That was her quickest transition to the ring, Sean, that I've seen in the last 3 rounds. So I'm not sure if she maybe sensed some blood in the water there with Manon pausing at the bar, but she definitely tried to seize that transition. Anganese still looking smooth on her ring muscle-ups. She does a great job extending her hip, getting to a higher portion of a dip and pressing out at the top.
Ariel Lowen is off the walls. Manon Anganese has now just started her handstand push-ups. Lowen making her 3rd appearance at the Rogue Invitational. Manon Anganese, this is her 2nd appearance here at Del Diamond, Round Rock, Texas. She was 11th last year. Ariel Lowen onto the snatches. Now starting to widen her lead over Manon Anganese through 187 of the 240 scored repetitions. She only has 3 snatches to go before she will close out round number 8. Danielle Brandon and Paige Powers working through their snatches. Paige Powers is a round behind here. Now Lowen is done, and Ariel Lowen moves into round number 9. Anganese still has 4 reps here on the snatches, and she's going to break again with 3 remaining.
Ariel, again, hardly any pauses. Right when she gets back to the pad, she's up and ready to go to work. Again, notice as she drives that hip open. That left arm goes first, right arm. It works for her. She's getting through.
Manon Anganese jogging back to the rings as Ariel Lowen's going to take a quick break before she heads to her handstand push-ups.
And even as she kicks up, it's it's again, psychological to know, like, am I going to break up these handstand push-ups? And if the answer is yes, a lot of times, as we see Ariel kick down there, a lot of times it frees you from wanting to rest with your hands on your legs or your hands on your knees in other portions. You give yourself permission to break things up, and it allows you to move more smoothly through transitions. She's even going to go for a third set there.
Lowen is done. She's still ahead of Manon Anganese, who has yet to start her set of handstand push-ups here in round number 9.
Not that these women haven't been working hard this entire event, but this is one of those pivotal moments where they've really got to choose to dig through the finishes. Ariel's looking to finish up round number 9 here. She's got to think, if I can, now I must, in order to have the urgency to keep in mind that 10 athletes are standing by, watching her execution, and noting exactly her finishing time and how to perhaps attack it so that they can just slide her out. So she's got to stay on the bar here and get back to those rings as quickly as possible.
Lowen in her last couple of reps here in this round, and now she is done, and Lowen moves into her 10th and final round as Manon Anganese is breaking again. She has 6 reps remaining before she will be into round number 10. Everyone else is a round behind our 2 leaders. Manon Anganese final rep for her in round 9. She is done. Lowen back to work on the muscle ups. 3 remaining.
And as an athlete going into this final round, you know this is going to be the one that really demands the most of your fortitude and grit. You've got to be willing to suffer here. Ariel broke up the last set of handstand push-ups into 3 sets. I'm interested to see if she's able to grind all 8 of these out unbroken, using a little bit more leg drive. She still kicks down.
Breaks after 4. Manon Anganese now just starting her final set of ring muscle ups. Lowen now is done with her handstand push-ups. Manon Anganese kicking up, getting right to work. This is where she's been able to gain a little bit of ground on Lowen, who heads to the barbell for the final time. And Anganese is going to go unbroken on that set of 8. Lowen right to work on her snatches. 7 reps remain. Here comes Anganese.
This is where you hope the crowd kicks in, gets her through the 12.
Now 2 more. Final rep for Ariel Lowen. She is done, and Ariel Lowen will take heat 1 of 10th inning. 16:47.10 seconds for Ariel Lowen as Manon Anganese as in her final reps. She has 2 remaining. Manon Anganese looking for her best finish of this competition. And again, she's been heading the wrong way in the overall standings after a 9th place finish in Texas Heavy. She's gone 12th and 17th. Ariel Lowen, the only woman so far to go sub 17, 16:47.10 seconds. That leaves Elena Karatala as your leader on the floor, along with Emily Rolfe. The 2 of them are on their final sets of muscle-ups.
Very impressive performance by Ariel there, but I'll tell you what, Manon Anganese, she did a great job. I think her camp and herself are going to be extremely proud of her execution and effort there, regardless of how the time plays out, even with the top 10 ladies still waiting to go.
Emily Rolfe in the upper left-hand part of your screen, covered up by our scoring ribbon, but you can see her there going through her handstand push-ups, and she is now done, and she will head to the barbell for the final time, separating herself from Elena Karatala for 3rd place in this heat right now. 19-minute time cap, so Rolfe is going to have to make some quick work of these snatches and not take too many breaks, if any at all, in order to get through them and get inside that time cap. Here comes Karatala in the background. She's in the all gray. Emily Rolfe unbroken on this final set. Emily Rolfe is in with time to spare. 18:43.35 seconds for her. The final seconds before we hit the time cap. And Elena Caratala is going to come up a few reps shy. But Ariel Lowen, representing her home state of Texas here very well as she wins heat number 1, 16:47.10 seconds. Led at the beginning, then had to battle Manon Anganese, but was able to separate herself from Anganese in round number 7, and she takes the heat victory.
Yeah, she did a great job executing the whole way. She was smooth, she was efficient, and of course we had our eyes on her out the gate because she's got a great history, Sean, performing in any event that have ring muscle-ups present in them. But I'll tell you, it's really about self-control and a little bit of self-preservation. You've got to understand you're going to have the jitters, you're going to have the excitement coming out the gate. Ariel is a vet, and she understands what she needs to do execution-wise to have succeed at the end, and that's exactly what she did. Of course, she really put it on there. After round 7, she had shorter transitions even back to the rings. We see her using somewhat of what we would call a chicken wing form of the ring muscle-ups as she kind of shimmies through, favors one side to the other, and it works for her. In the latter round, she chose to start to break up her handstand push-ups, even into doing 3 sets to get to 8 reps. But then it was all grit and all tenacity for her through the finish as she relied heavily on the crowd here at Dell Diamond to push her through those final 12 reps unbroken.
Ariel Owen with a heat win. Looking to move inside the top 10, one of 3 women to finish that event inside the 19-minute time cap, and she will wait and see if her sub-17-minute time will hold as we are set now for the second heat of 10th inning presented by Crocs. Equipment getting reset. Take a look at our overall standings coming into this event. And it's Laura Horvath who has your overall lead, but by just 5 points over Tia Toomey. Gabby McGowan sits in 3rd, but she's only 10 points up on Emma Lawson. Emma Carey is in 5th. Alex Kazan 25 points back of a spot in the top 5. But Laura Horvath and Tia Toomey have had a nearly identical competition. They both have a win. They both have a second, but Horvath has a 4th, Toomey has a 5th. Here are your lane assignments, and those two will be right next to each other in the middle of the field. Toomey in lane 5, Horvath in lane 6. We are set, and Emma Lawson, 4th place overall, has yet to finish lower than 9th place. Her best finish was a 4th in event number 2.
Yeah, Sean, she's well-rounded, and I really like her chances with an event just like this. All the ring muscle-ups, all the transitions, she's focused, she's got the conditioning, and she's got the skill set to excel at something just like 10th inning.
We start with the first set of 4 ring muscle-ups. 16:47.10 seconds. We just saw Ariel Lowen put that time up in heat number 1. Only woman to go sub-17 and one of 3 women to finish this event in its entirety before the 19-minute time cap. Tia Toomey was one of the first women to get to her first set of handstand push-ups. Now Laura Horvath kicking up, and when handstand push-ups were announced, we wondered what would they be, because this has traditionally been a weakness for Laura Horvath, but the fact that they are kipping, that's going to help her out through this event.
It is going to help her out throughout this event. You know, it's going to be something that can still be a bit of a limiter for her. We don't expect her to like hit a home run here with this one, but I think it's going to increase her chances of minimizing the point separation of what could be available for her giving up on the table.
Tia Toomey in lane 5 in that blue top and black shorts took a quick break on the barbell. 24 reps per round, 240 reps total here in 10th inning. 4th of 9 events that the individuals will face here at the 2023 Rogue Invitational. It's Emma Carey who's going to be the first woman back, followed by Emma Lawson and Tia Toomey. Laura Horvath is among the leaders as well. Horvath now just jumping up to start her second round.
I know for sure Emma Carey looked at this particular event and was chomping at the bit. These are 3 movements that she will not struggle with in the same vein as an Emma Lawson. or Tia Claire Toomey. But Emma Carey really likes to start fast and stay fast. So she's going to be one of those athletes we keep our eyes out for. She's going to be probably the pace setter or the rabbit of this heat, but can she sustain the pace throughout the 10 rounds that she's going to start with? That'll be the question.
It's Tia Toomey, Emma Carey, and Emma Lawson off their second round of handstand push-ups at the same time. Lauren Fisher is there. Paige Semenza on the right side of your screen in lane 2, picking up the barbell. And Bethany Flores and Alex Kazan in lane 3. So still very close here in round 2.
You got to love the awareness from Tia there. She literally did a side hop through the first rep just to make sure she was in the center of her platform as she executes the reps. And I like what I see from her right now because she's breaking all 12 into sets of 3. She's going 4-4-4. Again, this is going to help her keep her heart rate down, reduce the residual fatigue in her low back and in her shoulders, and allow her to want to go back immediately to attack those 4-ring muscle-ups.
Emma Lawson on the left, Tia Toomey in the middle of your screen. They are, along with Emma Carey, working their way back to the rings for round 3. And here comes Laura Horvath. Bethany Flores up there as well. We are now into round 3 of 10. 72 rep mark is what they're looking to hit. And remember, they will do the first 5 rounds on one platform as far as the barbell is concerned, and the last 5 rounds on the platform closer to the finish line as Tia Toomey gets an early no rep there on this 3rd round of handstand push-ups. Emma Lawson going through her reps on the wall adjacent to Toomey. Now Horvath getting set to start.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing about these handstand push-ups is that athletes have different approaches. We notice Tia, she tucks at the knee, and her knees don't get too close to her arms. And then we watch someone like Laura kick up here, and she tends to break at the hip and the knee a little bit more. She has a greater range that she kips through. This is in order to utilize her hips and her legs to help the weaker element of her arms and hopefully save some energy for her as the volume builds for these later rounds. So it's good for her now, but it also slows her cycle rate against the field when she's doing the reps.
Lawson, Toomey, and Carey pretty much going rep for rep here. As we close out round number 3, final couple reps for Toomey. And she is done along with Emma Lawson. So the two of them on the exact same pace. Emma Carey, closest to the camera. Just saw her. These are your top 3. (16:47.10 seconds) time to beat from Ariel Lowen from heat number 1. Now Bethany Flores is working her way back to the rings. And Laura Horvath is now just finishing up her 3rd set of snatches.
John, Tia is one of the best in the sport, like many movements, to do any ring muscle up. So I don't think she's ever seen a ring muscle up that she didn't like. It's a beautiful thing to watch her up there executing back in the field of competition, and she looks as sharp as she's ever looked.
No rep now for Emma Lawson. Toomey is through, and Toomey is now in the lead as both Lawson and Carey are putting the finishing touches on this set of handstand push-ups. So Toomey back to the barbell, now starting to separate herself from Carey and Lawson. There's Gabby McGowan. She currently sits in 3rd place overall. She's had a really great competition so far, nothing worse than 8th, and finished 2nd in Texas Heavy. And right now McGowan in 6th place in this heat.
And that's what it's going to take to be great for Gabby is again, seizing the opportunity to accumulate the points where they're available to her. We may not talk about her winning any particular event throughout the course of this weekend, and she can find her way onto that podium. She's that well-rounded of a competitor.
Tia Toomey is now through 4 rounds and is moving ahead of Emma Carey and Emma Lawson, and she will get started immediately on this 5th round of ring muscle-ups. Here comes Emma Carey in 2nd, and it's Emma Lawson now in 3rd, but Toomey continues to stay out front, nearly halfway through this event.
And the one thing to know back and think back to is right around that 4:59 5-minute mark, we saw Emma Lawson suffer a couple no reps on the handstand push-up. Was that enough to create her have to doing extra work, maybe a little bit of a psychological setback to allow Tia to create some greater separation between the two of them? It could be one of those pivotal moments that we reference back to now as we see Tia start to pull away a bit.
Meanwhile, Laura Horvath is just closing out round 4. Toomey back to the barbell. Once she gets to 120 reps, she'll be done with round 5, and this will be the last set that she will do on this platform. Emma Carey stepping up to the barbell. Emma Lawson is walking up to begin her 5th set. Toomey with 4 remaining. So far, the strategy of how she's breaking them up is really paying off for Tia Toomey.
Yeah, and again, I love that aspect. We know for a fact that she has the capacity to do 12 unbroken at 65 pounds all day, every day. She could muscle snatch it as well, Sean, which means not rebending the knees or the hips and just kind of muscle it to the top. She's choosing not to do that, just like we see a lot of the field doing, in order to sustain and save energy and think ahead.
Emma Carey still in 2nd place in this event, in this heat. She's 5th place overall, coming off a 4th place finish to close out day number 2 in circus, as Tia Toomey is now on to round number 6 of 10. 8 more handstand push-ups for the 3-time Rogue Invitational champ.
Now, this is the second time we've seen Tia kick up, her hands too wide and get a no rep. Now, she doesn't even kick down from the wall. She literally just adjusts her hands, walks them in like the pro she is, and continues on to do work. And that's a part of the job as an athlete. You're going to toe the line. You got to make the judge hold the standard so that you can still create as much advantage for yourself as you can. You're here to win. You're here to get the fastest time possible. So you're going to be toeing that line often.
And Tia Toomey at the halfway point of this event is about 30 seconds ahead of Ariel Lowen's pace. Lowen with the top time at 16 minutes, 47.10 seconds. And Toomey into round 6 on the snatches. She'll close us out with 12 reps here on the barbell at 65 pounds as Emma Carey hustles up to join Toomey on the 2nd platform for the first time. And now Emma Lawson is done in the background with her handstand push-up. She's in the black top, walking her way to the barbell.
And one of the key differences between what we saw in Heat 1 versus what we're seeing Tia do here is that she intentionally broke her snatches up into 4s, but the rest that she takes between each cluster of 4 reps is minimal. She lets the bar hit the ground, she starts to set her hands, takes a deep breath, and she's already set her body in order to start the next one.
Laura Horvath has fallen to the back of the pack here. She is in last place in this heat. She was towards the front at the beginning, but she has to worry about not only the women in this heat, but now there were quite a few women in the other heat who did not finish. So if she can at least get inside the time cap, that'll be some damage control for her.
And for Laura, this pause here, this waiting, I would almost rather see her kick up and do 4 reps. She could do 4 kipping handstand push-ups, then kick down, then rest again. Then do 2, then kick down, then do 2, then kick down and advance. So even if her sets are smaller, I want to see less dead time in execution here. Don't try to chunk together big sets. It's unnecessary. Just keep working.
Meanwhile, Tia Toomey is through her 7th round of handstand push-ups. Laura Horvath going unbroken. Toomey back to the barbell as Horvath is moving to the barbell for the first time on the 2nd platform as she is in round 6. Toomey closing out round 7.
Again, just Tia moving like an absolute machine. Hardly any rest. Barbell touched the ground. She's set. Emma going to put forth the best effort that she can to stay as close as she can to Tia.
Emma Carey right behind Tia in this heat. 5th place overall is Emma Carey with 195 points. She's only 30 points back at Emma Lawson for 4th, 50 points back at Gabby McGowa for 3rd. And McGowa right now in this heat sits in 5th place. She's in lane 7, getting ready to start another set of muscle ups. Tia Toomey, meanwhile, is on to round number 8, back on the rings. Past the 11-minute mark, 19-minute time cap in this event.
Tia does an amazing job transitioning through the ring muscle up, pulling below her sternum every time. This allows her to catch the portion of the dip at a higher position than a lot of fellow competitors that she's going head-to-head with, where they have to press a longer ways from the bottom.
Final 2 reps for Tia. Emma Lawson is now done.
Keep walking, Emma. That's the hard part there, is that when you want to stop and pause, that you're starting to read body language, and she's probably reached that point of almost no return where she's got to stop and she has to rest. It's not a conscious choice or intention now. It's a byproduct or response to the fatigue that's starting to build up. And that's what you want to avoid as much as you can. You never want to hit that red line or be quite there. You want to always break on purpose.
Toomey back to the snatches here as she is getting set to close out round number 8, as Emma Lawson is trying to catch Emma Carey for second place in this heat. Carey is moving back to the barbell, as Tia Toomey, you just saw her in the background, going back to the muscle-ups for round number 9. Carey taking a look to her right to see where Emma Lawson was. And Emma Lawson is now just getting done with her handstand push-ups. So Emma Carey solidly in second place through 187 reps and counting of the 240 total repetitions here. Here comes Lawson.
We start to see athletes have tools in their tool belt for this power snatch. Sean, if we were looking at a heavier load, they'd all be moving tremendously different, but they understand how to move their body in space around the load. It's a unique skill set that competitors and everyday CrossFit athletes have to learn to practice and develop. It's important for us to know how to manage a light load for many reps, and equally important for us to manage a heavy load for few reps.
Tia Toomey going back to the barbell now to start her 9th round of 12 snatches at 65 pounds. Emma Lawson, meanwhile, is done with round number 8. Emma Carey continues to sit in second place. Laura Horvath has moved into 9th place in the heat, but right now she is just beginning round 8. So Horvath going to fall down the overall standings because the women immediately behind her on the leaderboard are all beating her in this event. And Toomey was only 5 points back of Horvath for the overall lead, looking to retake that here in 10th inning. There is Laura. Now into round number 8. Toomey, meanwhile, getting set to start her 10th and final round. Back up on the rings.
Yeah, same transition each and every round. Just dialed in when it comes to tempo, intensity, and managing the fatigue. That's truly the swagger and the approach of a champion, is that her tempo has just been so consistent throughout. Other than a few no reps on the handstand push-ups for Tia, she's been moving like a cyborg out there the whole time.
16:47.10 seconds in the upper right-hand part of your screen. That is the time to beat. It belongs to Ariel Lowen. But not looking like it's going to last much longer, as Tia Toomey is through her final set of 8 handstand push-ups, and now just 12 snatches at 65 pounds between Tia Toomey and her 12th career event win at the Rogue Invitational.
Gonna give the crowd all 12. No, she don't. She knows she doesn't have to. It's a fortunate circumstance for her.
She is well ahead of Ariel Lowen right now. And Tia Toomey looking to put 100 more points in her pocket and looking to stand atop the overall leaderboard all by herself. Tia Toomey knocks this one out of the park, an event win in 10th inning.
Wow. Amazing execution there by Tia.
15:55.66 seconds. Her 12th career event win at the Rogue Invitational. She has nearly a 500 winning percentage at this event. So when it comes to events at the Rogue Invitational, when Tia Toomey's in it, flip a coin. Now Emma Carey is just about done, looking to finish in second place, not only in this heat, but also this event. 16:47 is the time she needs to beat, and she will do it. 95 points for Emma Carey as she looks to move into the top 3.
Great opportunity for her to seize the moment, and she did just that. Not any of these 3 movements were going to give her a problem. It was all about leaning into her ability to suffer, and we know Emma Carey enjoys doing just that. So great job by her.
Emma Lawson is your leader on the field. She's on the handstand push-ups. There's Gabby McGowa. McGowa came in 3rd place overall. She had a 40-point cushion on Emma Carey for 3rd and just a 10-point cushion on Emma Lawson. And McGowa right now is finishing up round 9. She still has another round left. Here comes Emma Lawson looking to be the next woman across the finish line. "90 seconds left before we hit the time cap. Lawson's going to be able to get in.
Similar snatching technique to what we saw from Laura.
And Lawson is across. 17:47.05 seconds for Emma Lawson. Laura Horvath is now getting set to start her 10th and final round. She's going to get time capped. And Gabby McGowa looking like she's going to get time capped as well, as she is on to the handstand push-ups in her 10th round. Christine Kohlenbrander, bottom of your screen, she's trying to finish up her set of snatches and get in inside this time cap. Lauren Fisher as well next to her. Final rep for Kohlenbrander, and she is in. Now all of this is great for both Emma Lawson and Emma Carey, as they could find themselves in the top 4 as Lauren Fisher is in. Gabby McGowa hustling to the barbell, trying to get as many reps as she can and do a little damage control here. Alex Gazan is there as well. McGowa is on the left, Gazan's on the right. 5 seconds remain. Gabby McGowa came in 3rd place overall. She's going to get capped. This will be most likely her first finish outside of the top 10. Tia Toomey racks up her 2nd win of this competition, the 12th in her career at the Rogue Invitational, and she will be your overall leader after 4 events.
She did exactly what we thought she would coming out here. She's amazing at ring and muscle ups. She paced the handstand push-ups just right. But what was impressive, Sean, is that she came out the gate and broke her 12 snatches into 4s the whole time, but looked like a complete machine. Tia is in top form right now, already here at the Rogue Invitational. She's here to defend the streak. Every time she shows up, she wins this thing.
And Tia Toomey once again is with Kiki Dixon.
Here we go. Tia, congratulations on your event win. It looked like your snatch breakup was very intentional. At what point did you make that decision and why?
You know, Shane and I, we definitely played around with different scenarios in the warm-up area, and we just figured, you know, it's not a 10-minute workout. There's obviously a whole lot of time out on that floor, and it's 120 reps, so you just got to break it up from the very beginning and hope that that plays out.
It certainly played out for you. You had a healthy lead over the rest of the competition. When that happens, do you allow yourself to take the foot off the gas, or are you still looking to get that tempo that you had in place at the start of the event?
Yeah, no, it's always, you know, foot to the pedal, if you will, and, you know, you got to, like I said at the start of the weekend, you got to capitalize on every event the best that you can, and, you know, I knew that this was going to be a tough workout, but it was also going to be a really good one for me, so I just went for it.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming out, guys.
12th career event win for Tia Toomey, 2nd of the competition, and once again finds herself in familiar territory. She will be your overall leader after 4 events. Emma Carey's going to lock up 95 points with that 2nd place finish. That's big for her. Ariel Lowen, her time good enough for a 3rd. Manon Anganez finishes in 4th, and it's Emma Lawson rounding out the top 5. Plenty more action to come here. CrossFit competition continues. The men up next in 10th inning. Our coverage continues of the 2023 Rogue Invitational as the men are set to take the field for their fourth event, 10th inning, presented by Crocs. And Adrian, we were talking about this earlier. It's just some good old-fashioned right down the middle CrossFit.
Good old-fashioned right down the middle CrossFit is right. We've got 2 gymnastics movements here for this test. We got a ring muscle up, we've got the handstand push-up, and then we've got some very light loads, at least for these men and women out here at 95 pounds and 65 pounds. They're going through 10 rounds of this, so that accumulative effect is certainly in place.
There will be 9 men on the field for this first of 2 heats. Victor Hoffer will be in lane number 3. Hoffer making his first career appearance here at the Rogue Invitational. He's in 16th place overall, but he does have a 5th place finish under his belt, looking to add to that here.
Yeah, and I really like his chances to perform at a very high level in an event like this. The weight is not going to be a limiting factor for him. He's shown that he's got the proficiency in gymnastics to really set himself apart. So with the volume of ring muscle-ups and handstand push-ups being present the way that they are, I think that this could be something where we're talking about Victor Hoffer as he's out there executing at a very high level. And I'm very interested to see how someone with no games experience per se on a big stage like this has the ability to pace, just like we perhaps saw the champ pace in the last heat.
Doesn't have games experience as a competitor, but he was on the demo team, so got to see what the environment was like. And you've talked a lot about just the value in learning experiences, getting to be around those athletes and seeing what it takes to be successful. What are the keys of this event?
Yeah, you know, the keys right out of the gate are to make sure that you slow the burn. We saw athletes that excelled at that do it at a high level. They broke things up early and often. All this is going to fatigue the shoulders. You got to be careful. And then understand there's 30 transitions within this particular event. Seize the moment there or slow where you need to, but run your race.
First of 2 heats for the men has begun. With Garrett Clark also making his first career appearance here at the Rogue Invitational. We start with the 4 muscle-ups. 10 total rounds here, 24 reps per round, 240 reps total.
Sean, for these 40 reps for the men, it's one of those things we're not going to really talk a ton about the ring muscle-ups. Not the dip out, not the 4 at a time unbroken. All of these men are going to go unbroken. They're all going to do them well. Oh, as we see Will Morad showing us a trick. He's going 8 strict handstand push-ups out the gate, increasing that cycle rate and trying to get himself an early lead here.
It's Morad and Magda. Magda on the left in the red shirt, along with Victor Hoffer. They're the first to the barbell, but they have a whole host of men right behind him. Magda takes a break, Hoffer takes a break, and now Morad's got the barbell down. So it looks like people were paying attention to what the women were doing.
Yeah, I hope you were watching. And if you think you're any different or any fitter than Tia Claire Toomey, who broke her snatches up into 3 times, I mean, I think that's a fool's errand there to assume those things. So I'd be, you know, listen, if you do something great and you do it well, I'm gonna beg, borrow, and steal those techniques from you as much as possible. So I hope these men were watching.
Lanes 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's where the battle for the lead is going on early here as we enter round number 2. There's Tudor Magda. Magda coming in at 18th place overall, but had his first top 10 finish of the competition last night in the circus.
Magda with a quick drop from the rings. Didn't even bother really lowering himself with his arms at all. This reduces time under tension. It's a bit of an advanced consideration if he's doing it on purpose, because he knows the swinging of the rings will minimize by the time he works his way back.
Victor Hoffer and Tudor Magda done with the handstand push-ups at the same time, and it's Will Morad right behind them. And also down in lane number 7, Jake Crouch heading back to the barbell for the second time. Travis Mayer is there as well. Great to see Travis back in competition. 48 rep mark. They will be done with round number 2. 4th of 9 events these men will face here. First of 3 that they will take on here on Saturday.
Yeah, break these up early and often is the key. And watch a lot of the body language that the men are showing us here. If they take a step away from the bar, if they pause and put their hands on their knees, you know they're already digging themselves in a bit of a deficit. And it's not a good sign to see only 2 minutes and 45 seconds into an event. if that's the case, when you know how long it's actually going to go.
Victor Hoffer and Tudor Magda rep for rep here as they begin round 3. They are your leaders. Followed by Will Morad and Jay Crouch. Travis Mayer fighting for a spot in the top 3 in this heat right now. Hoffer and Magda rifling through those handstand push-ups, both going unbroken, and now both back to the barbell to close out round number 3.
That's right. These guys, is this a synchro workout, Sean? Is this synchronized CrossFit here at the Rogue Invitational?
It looks a lot like it, as Jay Crouch now is back to the barbell along with Will Morad and Travis Mayer.
And this is actually, all kidding aside, what we would expect early in an event like this is rep for rep. None of these 3 presenting a problem for anyone that's out there on the field right now. The question mark is, are they able to sustain this pace? Are they staying just under that red line or just under that threshold of their capacity so they don't slow this tempo that they've established?
Victor Hoffer done with his set of 12 snatches to close out round 3, just ahead of Tudor Magda. Now Will Morad is done along with Jay Crouch. They're going to make the return trip to the rings. And Travis Mayer as well.
And we talked about transitions and being important and how many there are. And just watch the small things that Hoffer's doing right now in order to create separation between himself and Tudor, is that his transition time, if by only a second, and every time they transition is a touch faster, it will turn into a significant lead over Tudor.
Hoffer back to the barbell here in round 4. Starting to separate himself a little bit from Tudor Magda. He'll get a couple reps in here before Magda gets to the barbell.
Notice Victor's setup here. His feet are a little bit wider than his hips. This is uncommon for a traditional barbell snatch, but he's doing this in such a way to minimize the distance that the bars to travel all the way over his head. He's not necessarily jumping and demonstrating his full power. His feet kind of stay glued to the ground, but he's re-dipping his hip so that he can punch under the bar. Again, this is all in conservation for the later rounds. A heavy snatch would look very different for him, but he's literally has expanded the tools in his tool belt, as we like to say, and has a different method than what he would need to do depending on the load or the volume.
Hoffer is now done. And he'll be heading back to the rings to start round number 5. There is Travis Mayer, who currently sits in 11th place overall.
Yeah, Travis being an extremely well-rounded athlete. Tons of experience in our space. Been to the CrossFit Games many, many times, Sean. I've competed head-to-head against Travis years ago, all the way back to 2013. And he's one of those athletes whom he's explosive, he's strong, and he's also struck this balance of raising a family, being an affiliate owner, and being a long-time career athlete within our space. We don't see it commonly now, where athletes are actually business owners and running an affiliate and still competing at a high level.
And we have the legends coming up a little bit later, and we talked about how those athletes inspired people to get into CrossFit. Well, Travis Mayer was one of them. He started CrossFit in 2011 after seeing Chris Spieler. He's been to the Rogue Invitational 2 times prior to this as Travis Mayer. He finished 6th in both appearances.
Great to see him back, as he sat out last year due to a wrist injury.
Victor Hoffer continues to lead through 117 of the 240 scored repetitions. He's almost at the halfway point. 120 reps will be done with round 5, and this will be the last set of barbell snatches that he does on this platform. After this, he'll do his next 5 rounds on the platform closest to the finish line.
So now that he's finished that halfway mark, it's interesting to watch Victor. He put his hands on his knees. He was kneeling for a second. He's close to that threshold.
There is Jay Crouch, who's starting to put some pressure on Tudor Magda for 2nd place behind Victor Hoffer. Jay Crouch in 13th place overall. Started off with a 7th in Texas Heavy. We're coming off a 15th place finish in the circus. We're looking to get back on track here. in event 4, 10th inning. Victor Hoffer in the black top towards the middle of your screen, going through his handstand push-ups, and continues a pretty quick pace on this movement.
Now here's where he'll get a little bit of reprieve. He's got a little bit of a further walk here to start these ladder snatches in the event. You know, the last 5 rounds, that bar is just a touch further away, but that helps the athletes catch some time to breathe.
Will Morad trying to move up into the top 3 as well, as Lazar Jukic is starting to creep up as well, but Victor Hoffer is still your leader. Hoffer all by himself on those snatches as he is in round number 6.
Get up, Victor. I don't go there, right? Stay tall, stay at the bar. Hands on your knees if you need to, but minimize the distance and the work that your body has to do to get back to work. Body language is key here in the latter part of this event, and we're gonna see it. The guys in the back, again, are watching. How long is he resting? What's his method? What are we gonna need to do to better our time against him? And now Jay Crouch closing in.
And Jay Crouch is now 7 reps back. Hoffer. Lazar Jukic is on round 6, as is Travis Mayer. There goes Tudor Magda, who's fallen back a little bit. As Victor Hoffer continues to lead through 144 of the 240 scored repetitions.
Jukic executing muscle snatches still up until this point. This is similar to what we saw Spiegel doing, touching the bar, just extending the hip rapidly and turning his arms over. It's simple. Again, this keeps the heart rate down, but what's the cost? The hamstrings, the glutes, the low back, they tend to get fired up from those muscle snatches.
Victor Hoffer's back on the rings on the left side of your screen. Jay Crouch now in 2nd place ahead of Lazar Jukic. Tudor Magda's fallen down into 6th place in the heat, and Magda also on his haunches on the left side as he works his way through his 6th set of 12 power snatches. Hoffer is done with round 7 of the handstand push-ups. And hold off Jay Crouch. Crouch in lane 7 now, just hopping down from the rings and moving to the wall for his handstand push-ups. Jay Crouch now with 1 rep remaining, and he is done. Crouch has a chance to shave into this lead here.
Yeah, and I really like, again, we're watching body language. I like the way his looks. He built a little bit of intensity, intentionally kind of went into a trot to go to the barbell. Jay, as we watch him cycle to the right of your screen, he has to give the bar a little bit more of the business. He's giving that bar a little bit more hip extension. It's a rapid extension of the hip and a slight jump every rep to get it up there. So his pauses between sets are a little bit more, as we notice the velocity that he builds with that barbell can tax the body in a little bit of a different way than a more slow and controlled way to get it overhead.
Jay Crouch coming off an 8th place finish at the games back in August. This is his first appearance at the Rogue Invitational. And he's just about done with round 7. Victor Hoffer's at the rings, but Jay Crouch is starting to creep up. Lazar Jukic is in 3rd, and he's dangerous as well. Jukic is also heading back to the rings, where Victor Hoffer has just finished his 8th set of 4.
Yeah, Lazar has a tremendous work capacity and has certainly improved his overall performance when it comes to traditional CrossFit movements. So the longer this event goes, the closer Lazar will have an opportunity to continue to close the gap.
Hoffer blitzes through another set of handstand push-ups and heads back to the barbell as Jay Crouch is now on the handstand push-ups. "19-minute time cap here, past the 12-minute mark. Crouch is done easily with that set. Hoffer breaking at the 185 rep mark. He's got 7 left. Here comes Crouch.
And Victor took about a 10-second reprieve there, break between this picking up the bar here for this next set.
3 remaining for Hoffer in this round.
And that's what you want. want. Jay needs to be picking up the bar sooner. We'll continue to close the gap here.
Lazar Jukic is also onto the barbell as well in third place in the heat. Victor Hoffer is done. So far, Victor Hoffer holding off Jay Crouch and Lazar Jukic in the latter part of this event. 2 rounds remain. Jay Crouch now done with round 8. Tudor Magda, meanwhile, who is battling with Victor Hoffer for the lead. Magda there in the red shirt. He's now back in 6th place. He's got 180 reps under his belt. He's still in round number 8 now.
Again, it looks like he got himself in a little bit of trouble trying to run a race that maybe he wasn't prepared to run, right? It's a very natural thing. It's not uncommon, particularly for younger athletes. Tudor is one of the stronger athletes in this field when it comes to pound for pound, weightlifting, different ways to express external loading. But when it comes to building an engine and building up volume, it's something that he's certainly working tirelessly at. And this is another learning experience for a young athlete like Tudor.
Hoffer back to the barbell, getting ready to lap the man that he was once fighting for first place here in the heat. Jay Crouch is now walking back to the barbell. So Hoffer takes a look over his shoulder to see where Crouch is. And getting right back to work is Victor Hoffer.
He's got about 20 seconds on Jay right now. But we certainly see the fatigue setting in for Hoffer as he goes to that kneeling position between every set of 4 that he executes. You'll notice he's building a lot of fatigue in his legs because he hinges more at the waist and rounds his back more than he did when he started this event. And that just shows that he doesn't want to drop his hips. His legs are blown up, but unfortunately that's going to build more fatigue in his erectors. And it's just going to blow you up in a different way. So we'll see. He's only got 1 more set of 12 left, so Victor's just got to hold on.
Hoffer into his 10th and final round. Jay Crouch and Lazar Jukic fighting for 2nd place, and Crouch has a 3-rep lead on the man to his left. Will Morad, in the upper left-hand corner, sits in 4th place in the heat. As Crouch is now into round 10. Hoffer no problem with those final 4 ring muscle-ups, ditches the grips because he's not going to need those anymore, and now on to his final set of 8 handstand push-ups. No rep. Continues to work. 2 remaining and now 1. And Hoffer unbroken again. Jay Crouch is on the rings. Crouch moving to the handstand push-ups. Hoffer taking a look over his shoulder as he's walking down the field to see where Crouch is. Hoffer to work on his final set of 12. Five reps left for Hoffer. Here comes Crouch to the barbell. Crouch on the far side of the floor. Now, bottom right-hand part of your screen. We'll see if he hangs on here, tries to put a little pressure on Hoffer, but I think Crouch is going to run out of time. Victor Hoffer is done, and Victor Hoffer will take heat number 1. 16:36.35 seconds for the young Frenchman. Jay Crouch is now in. 13 seconds back of Victor Hoffer. Now Lazar Jukic looking to be the next man to come across the finish line. He has 1 rep remaining, and Jukic is in. Less than 2 minutes to go before we hit the time cap. Jukic at 17:10.65 seconds. Will Morad, who's on the barbell. Black shorts. Final reps for Will. Will Morad is done. His 3rd appearance here at the Rogue Invitational. Best finish was 14th in 2021. Morad at 17:38.37 seconds, and now Travis Mayer is just about finished. Mayer is in. Dallin Pepper is now your leader on the field. Pepper with 10 reps remaining. Garrett Clark is in round 9 next to Pepper, so Clark still has a full round remaining here. Pepper on his final rep, and he is done. Dallin Pepper will get in inside the 19-minute time cast. Tudor Magda now has 12 snatches remaining as Garrett Clark wraps up round 9. So Magda falling well back of the pack after being neck and neck with Victor Hoffer in the early parts of this event. Bailey Martin is in lane 5. He's still in round 9. So Magda, final seconds here, see if he can do it. One more rep. Doesn't look like he's going to get across the finish line, but Magda will complete all the reps. That could be big for him in a tiebreak scenario. But it's Victor Hoffer, 16:36.35 seconds.
Yeah, Victor knew he had to seize the moment here with this event. I'm sure that he saw this event listed when it got announced and was like, okay, that's the one. I got to go get this one. I've got to reach the peak of my performance here. And he did just that. He paced it very well early on. He ran his own race. He knew that gymnastics were something that's a strong suit of his. As we watch him work smoothly through the ring muscle-ups, those were no problem, not at any portion of this event. Same with the handstand push-ups, unbroken every round. Even when he got a no rep, he was able to adjust his position, show the judge that what she wanted to see or what she needed to see, and he still kept that set unbroken. And then, of course, he handled business where he needed to on the snatch, breaking them up, very similar to what we saw Tia do, and finish all the way, giving the crowd a little bit of love with the chest pump through the finish line.
Victor Hoffer, the Rogue Invitational rookie, with an impressive performance in heat number 1, 16:36.35 seconds, looking for his best finish of the competition. So far, that was a 5th place in event number 2. Might be able to best that here with an impressive time. Jake Crouch tried to put some pressure on Hoffer and overtake him for first, just ran out of time. 16:49.47 is Crouch and Hoffer the only 2 men to go sub 17 on that event. 1 heat is down. 1 remains here for the men in event 4, 10th inning. Inning is presented by Crocs. Here are your overall standings, and that man is your overall leader, Roman Krennikov, who's coming off an event win to put himself on top of the overall leaderboard by 20 points over Jeff Adler. Pat Vellner is tied with Adler in points, but because Adler has an event win in Texas Heavy, Adler gets the tiebreak. Chandler Smith looking to finish on the podium at the Rogue Invitational for the 2nd straight year. He sits in 4th place. He's only 10 points back of Vellner and Adler. And then Brent Fikowski in 5th with 210 points. He is very much alive, as is Yellow Hosta and Noah Ohlsen. Your lane assignments, overall leader Roman Krennikov will be in lane number 6. And Adrian, he has some momentum right now.
Oh yeah, Roman has done exactly what he has needed to do thus far in the competition. There were questions coming in. Is he healthy? How's he responded? What's the foot like? What's his training volume like? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Roman Krennikov is showing all of us he is healthy and he is ready to contend for the top of the podium here at the Rogue Invitational.
Heat 2 is underway. 10 rounds of those 4 ring muscle ups, the 8 handstand push-ups, and the 12 power snatches at 95 pounds for the men. Take a look at Ricky Garrard running to the rings. Ricky coming in 9th place overall. Has an event win in event 2, but took an 18th last night in the circus.
Yeah, I'll tell you, even as we kick this thing off, and we know these ring muscle-ups, again, for all 10 of these competitors are going to be a no problem, no deal-breaking movement. But when I kick up there on that first round, my whole cue to myself in my mind is, how can I do these as easy as possible? How can I keep my heart rate as low as possible? It's the same with the handstand push-ups. You want to stay cool and composed early, treat the transitions the way that you need to, so that then you know that this barbell will be a lot of the dictating pacer for the remainder of the event.
Noah Ohlsen and Ricky Garrard on the right side of the screen were the first two men to the barbell, along with Bjorgvin Carl Gudmundsson. He's on the far side of the field in lane 2. 12 reps here. 240 reps total in this event, 24 reps per round. Noah Ohlsen, your early leader, Pat Vellner and Ricky Garrard right behind him. Adler and Krennikov are neck and neck. Chandler Smith walking back to the rings to start round 2, and Bjorgvin Carl Gudmundsson.
We talked about how important transitions are, and we saw that even from Victor Hoffer early in the last event, where 1 second here and there, getting to the rings 1 or 2 seconds early, getting to the handstand push-up 1 or 2 seconds early really add up when we talk about any event that's going to accumulate 10 rounds total.
Krennikov, once again coming off that event win last night, has yet to have a finish outside of the top 10. He and Jeff Adler, the only two men who have every result of 10th or better. And they each have an event win. Adler to the barbell. There's your leader right now in the heat, Noah Ohlsen. Ohlsen coming in 7th place overall.
Noah, an athlete who I really like for all three of these movements. The question mark with Noah is, again, his choice of tempo. He tends to come out a little bit hot, a little bit sporadic, likes to lead the charge, but then where does that leave him? Right around that 4 to 6 round mark. We'll be checking in to see exactly where he's at that point.
Pat Vellner, Noah Ohlsen done at the same time. They're walking back to the rings to start round number 3. Jeff Adler has moved into a 3rd place battle with Ricky Garrard. Bjorgvin Carl Gudmundsson is done. Now Chandler Smith making the walk back. We are now into round number 3. Time to beat is from Victor Hoffer from heat number 1, 16 minutes, 36.35 seconds.
I'll say one of the things too, Sean, to consider is that distance matters, especially early in this event. Noah's one of the shorter statured athletes. He's got short arms. He's got a short overall body range. So when we think about a handstand push-up, boy, he's on and off those 8 reps very quickly. When we think about a snatch going ground to all the way overhead, think about his stature. It reduces the distance that the load has to travel, and that really matters particularly early when speed is of the essence. Now again, later, as it turns into more of an aerobic-based test, that's when it starts to become less of a dictating factor. So early on, a lot of times we see shorter, faster athletes having great success, and then later on we start to see the consistency and their overall pacing and conditioning be the biggest separator.
Pat Vellner continues to lead along with Bjorgvin Carl Gudmundsson and Noah Ohlsen. Those guys are rep for rep. As Vellner's got the barbell down, Ohlsen is done, and Gudmundsson is just about done as well. You see the narrow grip that Adler's taken here.
Yeah, and I almost wonder, Sean, that he's taken that narrow grip because his hands are a little beat up from the work that they did yesterday. But also, we tend to have a more stable shoulder position when our hands are more narrow. So this could be something where he's thinking down the line with the way that all three of these movements kind of interfere with the upper body and with the shoulder specifically.
Roman Krennikov there in lane 6 now, walking back to start round number 4. Falling off the lead pace is our overall leader, Roman Krennikov, coming into the day with a 20-point cushion over Jeff Adler. Pat Vellner tied with Adler in points, and he and Ohlsen continue to lead. Quick break and a kick right back up for Vellner as Ohlsen is to the barbell.
Noah looking very smooth, making no contact with his body on the way up on those linked together snatches, taking a brief pause, hands back on the bar, hook grip intact, and he's off. Really hinging at the hips as well, sending his butt back, shoulders down, almost dropping his chest completely towards the floor. Again, all three of these men making work, VKG doing a similar thing. These guys all move a heavy bar very different, but you gotta understand they practice barbell snatching. VKG we see not touching the bar with his body as well, and then rebending his knees just before that bar reaches his forehead. I categorize this style of movement as a snake style snatch. it just tends to help you save a little bit of energy. It keeps you smooth. Your feet don't got to leave the ground, and you can push right under the load.
Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson 8th place overall right now with 190 points. He's tied with Noah Ohlsen in points, but Ohlsen has the tiebreak because of the better finish. Pat Vellner and Noah Ohlsen continue to fight for the lead here. 16:36.35 seconds, the top time from Heat 1. And these guys are approaching the halfway point of this event. 240 total scored repetitions. They are each in round number 5. Ohlsen with a faster pace than Vellner on those handstand push-ups. Ohlsen back to the barbell. The final time on this platform.
So here we go. We're into round 5. Noah holding his pace. Seems to have come out with a good groove. He's keeping good tempo at the barbell. This is what you want to see. Good positive body language still up to this point. A couple deep breaths. It's very consistent. He's building rhythm with the barbell, and because that's where we spend the most time in this event, that is extremely important for a good outcome.
Roman Krennikov and Jeff Adler came in 1 and 2 in the overall standings respectively. Adler right now sits in 4th place. He's on the barbell. He is on pace with the leaders. Roman Krennikov is falling back. Krennikov right now is in 8th place in the heat. Adler has to make up just 20 points on Roman Krennikov. There are 5 points between each result in this event. First place gets 100, second place gets 95, third gets 90.
And Sean, just watching Adler's body posture and his language, I don't like how much duress he's showing at this point, and in regards to what that means for the outcome for him. His hands are so narrow at this point that he's making that bar travel a substantially longer distance to lock it out overhead, even if it's to save his grip. I'm not sure what has brought that choice to him, but I'm sure that's going to play a factor in this event.
There is Chandler Smith, who's in 4th place overall, 215 points. Smith right now in a fight with Adler for 4th place in the heat. And Chandler has an event coming up later on in that 1 rep max deadlift that he can do some serious damage.
Yeah, we see Chandler making a good swinging action. He has a very similar technique for the ring muscle up that we saw from Ariel Lowen earlier. A bit of a chicken wing, favors the left side, then goes through the right side. A lot of times we would note that as a fault in regards to a point of performance. We want to see athletes come through smoothly, both arms at the same time. But I'll tell you what, Chandler Smith's done enough ring muscle ups in practice. He understands the way he needs to move to optimize the outcome. These athletes tend to have exceptional movement patterns and do things in a unique way in order to have a high level of achievement.
Adler coming off the wall as Chandler Smith looking to close out his set. He's got 1 remaining. Adler's done. Ohlsen and Vellner continue to fight for the lead here. As Ohlsen is now done with round number 6. Time to beat is in the upper right-hand part of your screen. That belongs to Victor Hoffer. And at last check, Ohlsen and Vellner were slightly behind that pace. Ohlsen into round number 7 along with Pat Vellner, your 2 leaders here.
We're looking at another athlete in Noah Ohlsen that's never seen a muscle up that he didn't like. He can go big and he can go long on rings and regular rig bar muscle up. So this is something that I'm sure he was chomping at the bit to see these 3 movements paired together in the form of 2 gymnastics, the ring muscle up, the handstand push-up. As we notice, his hip drive is quick, he's efficient, and he's accurate with those heels to the wall.
I know Ohlsen starting to separate himself from Pat Vellner. Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson looking to overtake Vellner for 2nd place in the heat. Ohlsen back to the barbell. Close out round 7.
Moving 95 pounds like a champ, straight up and down. The bar path is a straight line. He's reducing the distance traveled there. Again, still same solid momentum and rhythm with picking up the bar after it dies out on the floor.
Vellner back on the barbell, and since finishing 13th in the opening event, Pat Vellner has a 2nd and a 3rd.
And right now he finds himself in perfect striking position to stay and continue to stay right at the heels of Noah.
Ohlsen with now 1 more rep, he's done. And into round 8.
We see BKG making a move on Pat Vellner. Right out of lane 2. He picked up that bar just a hair sooner than Pat did for his third and final set, but BKG still has a few more reps left in this round.
There's Roman Krennikov, who is now a full round behind the leaders. So Roman Krennikov coming in with a 20-point lead over Jeff Adler and Pat Vellner. So depending on how this shakes out, Pat Vellner might find himself atop the overall standings here. 11.5 minutes gone by, 19-minute time cap.
Even though we're only 4 scores in after this event finishes, Sean, I don't think anyone that pays close attention to the sport would have a hard time saying that Pat Vellner could find himself at the top of the podium, not only at this point, but all the way through this weekend, as all the events that have been announced, you know, they seem to really favor his capacity, his ability to attack, and where he has strengths and weaknesses aligned. It aligns well for Pat.
Vellner is done with that set of handstand push-ups. He's the only former champion of this event in the field. He won in 2020. Noah Ohlsen has also done extremely well during his career at the Rogue Invitational. This is his 4th appearance. He's never been outside the top 10, and his best finish was the year that Vellner won. That was 3rd in 2020. Noah Ohlsen, meanwhile, has picked up the pace. He is ahead of where Hoffer was at this point in the event. Pat Vellner continuing to work his way through his set of 12 snatches to close out round number 8. So Vellner has finished 2nd at the Invitational twice and 4th to go along with that championship.
Yeah, great history there for Pat. And we just watched Noah jump up. He was on the rings at about 12:45. So he's looking to establish at least a 20, perhaps a 25-second lead on Pat Vellner as he's just entering the same round as Noah here into round 9.
Ohlsen continues to look like he did the very first time he kicked up on that handstand push-up wall. Just a minor inconvenience for him as he moves back to the barbell here in round number 9. So Ohlsen, if he continues this pace, he's going to look at an event win. Pat Vellner, meanwhile, might be looking at the overall lead if he can stay behind Ohlsen in this heat. Doesn't want to surrender any ground to Bjorgvin Carl Gudmundsson, who's lurking there in 3rd place. Gudmundsson at the top of your screen now, getting to his handstand push-ups in round number 9. Vellner's done. He'll head back to the barbell. Ohlsen has 4 reps remaining in this set. You saw Vellner looking over his right shoulder to see where Bjorgvin was. Bjorgvin seeing what Ohlsen and Vellner are doing. Ohlsen's done. He's now into his 10th and final round. 16:36.35 seconds. That's the top time here. Victor Hoffer did that in heat number 1, and Ohlsen is threatening to defeat that. Pat Vellner, meanwhile, is into his final couple of reps on his 9th set of barbell snatches. Final rep for Ohlsen on the rings. He is done. He'll move back to the handstand push-ups. He's had no problem with this movement. And there goes Noah Ohlsen. Easy 8 reps for him, and now 12 snatches between Noah Ohlsen and an event win here at the Rogue Invitational. Jeff Adler, meanwhile, is on the left side. He's in 4th place, well ahead of Roman Krennikov, the man he's chasing in the overall standings. But he's behind Vellner, who still sits in 2nd place in the heat, although Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson looks like he's overtaken Vellner for second on that set of handstand push-ups. Meanwhile, Noah Ohlsen getting set to finish up. He's got a couple of reps left, doesn't need to be in a hurry. He has plenty of time to win this event. That's going to do it for Noah Ohlsen, and Noah Ohlsen taking a little time to celebrate, and he will win 10th inning. 100 points for Noah.
You love to see a great execution by Noah there.
Here comes Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson, so a late charge by Gudmundsson gets him in second place. That'll be worth 95 points as Victor Hoffer's time is now the third best, and Vellner is gonna have to hurry to get that. Vellner's done, he's gotta hurry up, and it doesn't look like he's gonna make it. 16:37.45, so Vellner will take fourth place in the event. Now we have to wait and see where Adler and Krennikov wind up. 2 minutes remain, and Vellner only had to make up 20 points on Roman Krennikov to overtake him for the lead. Now Jeff Adler is going back to the barbell for the final time. Krennikov, meanwhile, is in round number 9.
Yeah, and this is where Jeff's got to really hammer down on the barbell, understanding, of course, those other times are now playing a role in dictating his outcome. It's not just the guys to the left and to the right of him.
We also have times from the prior heat that are going to factor in here, so Roman Krennikov may not be our overall leader after this event. Adler is now in. Minute 15 remains before we hit the time cap. Adler in at 17:42.41 seconds. Brent Fikowski and Chandler Smith are in a race. Fikowski's going to win that. He's in. Chandler Smith coming across now, right behind Brent Fikowski. Less than a minute to go. Ricky Garrard will be the next man to finish, and he is done. All of this is great for Pat Vellner. Roman Krennikov is closing out round 9.
Talk about how far they have to make that load travel, Sean. And Roman's got to make it travel a great distance. Him and Yelahosta being some of the taller athletes in the field.
And 3 of the biggest guys in the competition are still out on the field. Krennikov along with Jason Hopper and Yelahosta. We have 15 seconds to go now before we hit the time cap. 5 to go. And it's Noah Ohlsen who's going to pick up the event win, looking to move up the overall standings. He came into this event in 7th place overall and could crack the top 5 courtesy of that performance.
Noah Ohlsen, a class act, a fan favorite. What a tremendous career we've seen from him so far. I talked to him even before the competition started, and he was chomping at the bit to get out there for this particular event. 3 traditional CrossFit movements in the form of a ring muscle-up, handstand push-up, and a power snatch, and he executed to the highest level. We knew the ring muscle-ups would not be anything for him. This is a man that has done 30 and more unbroken on a set of rings before. And the handstand push-ups, he really executes at an extremely high level. Not far for him to lock out with his arm position, but he does a great job of being graceful with his lower body and efficient. And then what we like to see was that he broke up the reps early and often. He mimicked what Tia-Clair Toomey did in the last heat to have great success. And he gives the crowd a tremendous amount of not just love, but also energy as he gives us a good flex to finish.
First career event win at the Rogue Invitational for Noah Ohlsen, and he is with Kiki Dixon.
Noah, you retired as an individual, but here we are. What happened?
My friend Christine the other day said we could probably frame this as an encore. I don't know if you guys wanted more, but I'm here one last time, last hurrah before switching over to teams.
You look like you were having so much fun on the competition floor. What did you love about this particular event?
That's what I'm trying to do all weekend because this is kind of a bonus for me. I just want to enjoy it all, have a lot of fun, take advantage of the events that I can do well on, and just played my game there. It worked out in my favor, and I'm a pretty happy puppy.
Congratulations on your first event Rogue win.
Woo. I'll take it. Let's go. Woo!
Noah Ohlsen with his event win here in 10th inning, taking some time to show some appreciation for the fans and looking to move up the overall standing. 16:10.60 seconds is the winning time. Bjorven Carl Gudmundsson with that late charge overtakes Pat Vellner. He'll finish second and put 95 points in his pocket. Victor Hoffer gets his best finish so far of the competition out of heat number 1. And Pat Vellner looks to be the new overall leader heading into the next event. We'll have to wait for the official results. And for those official results, and to keep up to date on everything going on with the Rogue Invitational, you can head to roguefitness.com/invitational. 10th inning is in the books. Action continues here at the 2023 Rogue Invitational as the legends are coming out next. So stay with us, everybody, as our coverage continues from Round Rock, Texas.